The day has finally come. Welcome to the very first episode of Wedding Talks with Prestige State Podcast. You will get all the behind the scenes of the wedding industry. And I'm here with Samantha today, who will be sharing a lot of funny stories and the behind the scenes that you want to know.
The tea is piping, you guys. So I'm super excited. We've been planning this for a long time. So I'm so glad that we have finally announced it and we're filming our first podcast. And we hope you guys enjoy it. We want this to be an organic space where you guys can hang out with us and not only enjoy our past stories, but a little bit of my knowledge. I do have a long time in the industry, so I just want to be in a chill space with you guys and be able to share these wonderful memories as well as assist you with future planning if you are in the middle of planning a wedding or will be in the future planning a wedding.
So I have one question for you. Can you share with all of us how your day-to-day looks like, a regular day here at the venue?
Guys, every day is different, okay?
I bet.
I've been doing it 12 years, so every single day is a little bit different in how we kind of manage as a sales manager here at the location. But typically I get here and the first thing I do is obviously I wake up in the morning before I even come to work and I answer all of the leads that come in, because for me it's super important that the reply is quick. So I know people have a lot of things to do with their day. So I wake up and I get everybody responded to quickly. And then basically after that, I do my getting ready. I get to work, of course, because it's presentation. So the way I come to work is the way I sell. And that's a big part in the way that I do sell is feeling good about myself when I get here.
Yeah.
So
it
answering the
your
clients.
Confidence
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Answering the clients first thing, and then obviously dealing with the clients that already exist, because as new couples who are planning a wedding, they don't really know the ins and outs. So the questions are completely normal, you guys. Don't feel scared to send me questions. But I love to answer them, because the more knowledge I can give them throughout the process, the easier, the more seamless their planning process is, and the happier they will be as we get to the end. So basically just answering all the questions via email, through our text platform, and making sure that everybody is attended to. And then after that, I just kind of go into the ins and outs of the events we're going to have for that weekend, make sure that everything is planned and that everything is ready to go for those events, because we usually have multiple in a weekend. So just basically run through those logistics, make sure all the staff is doing what they need to do, and then just continue with my day as it goes, because it's organic.
I know before we started filming behind the camera, you told me that you've been in the industry for 12 years. So I wanted to ask you if you can share with all of us, if you could share with all of us, how do you get started in the industry and what was your motivation behind it?
So that's funny. That's a funny story, guys. But basically what happened was I was in a job that I hated. I'm not going to mention where because it's still open.
Tell us. We demand it.
But it's a restaurant in Key Biscayne.
And the address is.
And it's located at. So yeah, I worked there. It was miserable. I worked there for a long time and I just wanted to get out of the space. So back in the day, 12 years ago, Craigslist was it. And that was like the way that people would look for jobs, because it's not how it is now, but that's how it used to be. So I just went on Craigslist and I started applying everywhere. I could care less what the job was. I just wanted to get out of where I was. Yeah. And when I saw this post, I kind of did it like a Hail Mary type of thing. I inquired with already like the negativity that she wasn't going to call me, because I've never done this ever. I had no experience in this whatsoever.
So you had imposter syndrome.
Correct. Yes.
You're like, I'm not eligible for that.
Exactly. So I really thought, no, I'm going to just do it to do it, whatever. Yeah. Probably 2 days later, my boss called me. She called me in for an interview. I was super excited, super nervous. But to my surprise, the full interview was going to be in Spanish, which if you guys know me now, I speak fluent Spanish now, but 12 years ago I did not. And that right there to me was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in my life. I'm really good at interviews, but that was something. And I finished the interview. It was terrible. I don't even know how she understood me. It was broken Spanish. I defended myself, but it was broken. And I got in the car and I cried all the way home, because I really, really wanted the job. I knew I could do it. Yeah. But that was like, she only speaks Spanish. That's it. Yeah. And I would tell you that I probably drove 15 minutes to get home, and she called me. And she asked me when to start. And I literally...
You manifested it.
I literally was bawling inside because I was still trying to be professional on the phone because I really wanted the job. And honestly, because the job I was at was not good, as we mentioned, I didn't show up the next day to that job. I went to work here. And basically it's been all she wrote ever since. I've only gotten better and better in the industry, learning more by experience.
Yeah.
Obviously it was tough to start, and I was nervous. If that first client that ever sat with me, I wish honestly that I remembered her name, but I was shaking and she could see it. She could see it all over me that I was super nervous. But she was so cool, and I ended up doing that first sale with her. And it was one of the first people that I ever sat down with. And then after that, you gain confidence, and I knew that I could do it. And then just little by little, because of my personality, I knew that I was going to be able to captivate people just by making them feel comfortable, because wedding planning can be so crazy chaotic.
And you need like a personal touch to it. Like, you cannot treat people like, oh, they're just another sale.
Exactly.
Like, no, they're a human. Like, they're getting married.
Absolutely.
They probably wished for this moment ever since they were a little kid.
Exactly.
You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And that's the kind of way I take it from then on.
100%.
So I treat everybody very differently depending on the personality they give me when they come in. Because there are some clients that are a little bit colder than others. And so you know that you can't really like step in as much with them as I could with somebody who else was giving it
more open.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I can make jokes with you, I can make you laugh, but there are some clients who come in serious, and I respect that as well.
Yeah, they have maybe their boundaries or even the stress, because like, I mean, weddings can be stressful.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, it's not just fairy tales, like the planning behind it can be stressful.
That is true. Being the day of is also stressful, but that's why we're here. And that's what I do. I want to ease it. I want to make it seamless. I want them to feel comfortable with me, because not only are they going to sit with me for the sales in the beginning, but I'm going to be their point of contact for a year, 6 months, 2 months, 3 years,
100%.
whatever that's going to be. And so I want them to feel comfortable to talk to me. Sometimes I'm even their therapist. Sometimes they have to call me and they tell me their whole life story and everything that's happened to them and everything that's going on with their fiance and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm open for it. I'm here to listen to it. I'm here to enjoy it. So that's basically how I started, not to go too long with that. And I've been with her ever since, and I'm super happy. This is something I love to do, and I would like to continue doing, for as long as I can.
If you can look back, and talk to Sammy 12 years ago when you were starting in this industry, what advice will you give her?
To not take it so seriously. Okay. To be confident in yourself and who you are as a person, and not really take what other people's perspective of you to heart, because it all sounds like butterflies and rainbows, guys, but it's not. You will get the client that does treat you badly. You will get the client that does have attitude. You will get the client that you really just can't connect with.
Yeah.
And with any salesperson, whether you sell cars, houses, whatever it is, you know that you just have to kind of quiet down and just let it ride. After, if you want to scream in your room, cool. I definitely recommend it, guys. But not every client is going to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. And so I would tell myself to not take everything so seriously, because it used to affect me a lot when clients would come in.
In your industry as well, it's like nothing is personal.
Correct.
Do not take anything personal. Like, you don't know the stress they're under. I mean, I'm not saying it's okay to treat someone poorly, but do not take it personally. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what I learned now. I take everything with a grain of salt. It really takes a lot to affect me nowadays. So long been doing this. So honestly, whatever comes at me, I go on to the next. I hope that I mark them in some way that is a good way. And if I didn't rub them the right way, I'm so sorry about that, because I'm my same personality with everybody. So honestly, if it works for you, cool. If it doesn't, awesome. I mean, that is what it is.
From your journey with Prestige State, what has been your favorite memory dealing with a client? Because, you already told us your day-to-day, how it looks like, but can you walk us more into detail? Like, what has been your favorite thing, helping them achieve their dream wedding?
So basically, after, I go through the logistics of the question process, because not every client that inquires is going to be a client for us. We wish that they would be, but it just doesn't work out like that every single time. And so we kind of go through a question process with each client before I have them come in for a tour. Typically, when they come in for a tour, this is where I want to sell the best points of the venue. We are fortunate enough to have a beautiful mansion that is part of our venue. And so when they come in, the first thing I want to do is show them the mansion. Why? Because there's a lot of venues that are in the area. We're all kind of more or less selling the same thing, have a little bit similar aesthetic. But that's something that sets us apart from most venues, is having the mansion there.
Yeah.
And so I want to start the tour there because that gives them the wow factor. The way that our mansion is set up, they get to visualize what their photos are going to look like there. They've already seen on our social media other people. So that kind of gives them, like, they're already starting to imagine themselves there. And that's a huge aspect of creating that kind of relationship with the client. Then after we do that, I'll walk them through the property. I do like to let the clients talk. And that's something I learned as well with experience. Is to let the clients talk more and let me talk less, because I can talk a lot, guys. But because I have so much knowledge and I like to give them so much information, that now I've learned to just let them kind of guide the tour a little bit, kind of see what they really like, and then I can kind of use that for when we sit down and we talk about the packages, which is always the part that gets everybody wearisome, because now we're going to talk about price and we're going to talk about what the real deal is, because everybody could be a dreamer, you know, and that brings me into people who come in with, you know, tremendo Pinterest board of what they want, and weddings that probably cost millions and millions of dollars that they're showing that they want, and this is their dream wedding. Cool. We could captivate that. I could do that for you. But at the end of the day, and it sucks to say, but if the budget's not there, it's not there. And the couples have to be, you know, in acceptance of that, because, you know, not everybody's a millionaire. Not everybody can do those weddings. And what do people showcase? The best of the best. Pinterest is going to show their best. On our Instagram, we're going to show our best. And so when people come in with a visual that's, you know, very over the top, but their price point doesn't match that, you kind of have to give them the knowledge to understand what they are able to get and still make them feel like it's going to be an absolutely beautiful event. You don't need to spend millions of dollars to have love in the room or to celebrate what the main cause is, which is getting married. And that's what the main detail is of that day. It's not the other little details of how much money did we spend and how many flowers are there and all of that, which is cool because we love that, because the flowers obviously make a big part, and, you know, the entertainment and what. But the point of getting married is to get married to the love of your life. It's to enjoy that moment with your friends and family who travel distances to be there with you. And it's to just take every moment the way that it is, the way that you can afford. And if that's not $1 million wedding, cool. If it is $1 million, cool. I mean, we could work everything. But, you know, once I sit down with them, it's kind of just giving them that knowledge that I have to make them feel comfortable in what they can spend. And not uncomfortable because they can't spend what they're showing me, but also bringing them down a notch into actually reality, because sometimes they are living in a little bit of a dream and you just got to help them come down a little bit, but still give them maximum effort.
And how do you do the best job, like, to your abilities to accommodate to their budget, but also, like, keeping their vision alive?
Right. I mean, you know, not every single time can we obtain the exact vision, detail by detail, that they want, because obviously money is a big thing. And if the money's not there, then unfortunately we can't give you exactly what you want, but we're always going to try our best to get something similar. And so at that point, I have to explain to them, do you want what you're showing me there? In that case, you're going to have to go up in budget. But if you're okay with
something similar,
correct, downgrading the vision a little bit, we're going to have the same color scheme, we're going to have the same aspect, we're going to obviously keep the aesthetics in line, but it's going to be a little bit more of an economical side, cool. Then there's also couples who don't want to hear that. They want exactly what they want. You know, they want, and I used to say it all the time, Bad Bunny for $5. That's just how it is.
You the Dollar Tree Bad Bunny.
Absolutely. Bad Bunny concerts, everybody knows Bad Bunny is $1,000, $800 a seat. And it's because his value is that. And that's what I believe here. You can't get Bad Bunny for $5. You'll never do a show where it's $5 to go see him front row. And that's what you're dealing with here. Every single vision has a budget, and you guys need to be aware of the budget that you have. And don't be scared to say it too. You know, at the end of the day, we're not going to judge you if your budget is $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $60,000, whatever it is, because my goal always
is to accommodate and work with it.
To accommodate, to help you. And the more honest you are, the better it's going to be, because that way we all can work a package for you that's going to be the best outcome for your price point.
Does that make your job easier, like when they tell you, like, from the jump, like, this is what we're looking for, this is the budget? Because I feel like a lot of clients can go, like, back and forth, like, yeah, maybe it's good, no, never mind, I made up my mind. So, like, what do you think has been so far the easiest, the most smooth experience for you when dealing with a client so far?
I would say the more honest, the better.
Okay.
When I have clients that come in and they know exactly what their vision is, they know exactly what they can spend, and they're honest with that from the get, amazing. Our process is going to be super simple because I know what your vision is. I already have the knowledge and I know what your price point is. So I'm not going to show you, if your budget is 25, 30K, a package that's $50,000, $60,000. I'm going to show you something that's very close to that and probably a little bit under, because there might be things that are missing that you still want. I feel like sometimes people think if they say a budget, we're going to go automatically to a package that's in that budget. Like, we're just going to hit the top number. And I get that, because usually car salesmen do that and all the other, salespeople do that. And that's what people are used to. But that's not the way that I operate. What I'm trying to do is give you the best bang for your buck, because not only do I want you to get a great package, but I want you to enjoy your experience with us. And if you're starting the process at top of your budget, you're going to struggle throughout this process, because we could have a year to 2 years of planning. And if you started at your top, you're not going to be able to do nothing throughout. And that, what it causes is problems with the client throughout. And that's the honest truth, because we're doing our best to assist, but people have to be conscious of what they can spend. And it's not necessarily the venue's fault or the salesperson's fault or the package you chose its fault that there's specific things that you don't have included that you might want that are past your price point. And so people need to be conscious of what they selected, what they can spend, and be happy with it. And that's the most important thing. Not worry about the next wedding that we post that had 75 other things that they don't have and think that now their wedding is inferior because they didn't hit those points that the others did. Everybody's wedding is different, and there are more important items in that wedding is different. Some is food, some is entertainment, some is music, some is alcohol, some is, so it's just, everybody's a little bit different. And so you just got to take it for what's the most important, and that's what we try to focus on.
And how do you think this venue is different than other wedding venues in the city, in Miami?
I would say first and foremost, our customer service.
Okay.
Because like I said earlier, we're all more or less selling similar things, but the customer service is one big aspect that sets us apart. Because not only are we one person, it's not just Samantha that deals with everything. We have a full team, and most venues don't have that. Most venues are dealing with the same owner, is the manager, is the person who's doing sales, is the person who's doing the tour, is the person who's doing everything. And we have a full team for every single type of business that we do. There is a person assigned. So the coordinator, huge difference. Okay. And I've been in the industry a long time, and I know a lot of venues lack that. But let me tell you something. Having a coordinator the day of your event is the best investment that you could have. It's the best item to have in a package, because all the logistics could be great, but if you don't have somebody running the show that day, that leaves the couple to do that. And the last thing a couple wants to do that day is run the logistics of their wedding.
They won't be able to enjoy the wedding. And
absolutely.
On top of that, you have to, be the host, be there for your family and friends. It's like, you cannot be doing everything at once.
Absolutely. You have to make rounds. You have to say hi to everybody that came in. You have to do all of that. But then you're also, if you're coordinating your own wedding, you're also worrying about when the food's coming out, when we're coming in for a cocktail, what happens after ceremony, when are we taking pictures, what time is that over? All those things a lot of couples don't notice, that without the backbone, which is the coordinator of the party, it would be a disaster. And I can't tell you the amount of people, bridesmaids, groomsmen, family members who come up to me in a party who tell me, wow, I went to a wedding before and they did not have a coordinator and it was a disaster. Nothing started on time. Everything was delayed. We had no idea what was going on next. Thank you for being so on top of it. We are one of the most organized venues. And I don't say that because I work here. I say it because I truly, literally believe it to my soul, that we are one of the most organized venues in this area in the logistics of wedding day. You want to start on time? We are going to start on time. If you're ready, we're ready. And I tell that to every couple. Girls, if you've gotten married with me, I tell you, if you're on time, we're on time. And all the coordinators are the same. If you guys run late, cool, we adjust. And that's another big thing in us. If the adjustment is obviously significant and that we could rescue time, awesome. Sometimes we can't because it's a huge delay and there's just nothing you can do at that time. But we're here to help you. We're not here to make it more stressful. We're not here to push you, to rush you, or anything like that. Sometimes couples can take it that way, that we're rushing them throughout the process. But what we're trying to do is give you the most of the time that you have with us. And sometimes it's a shorter time than others. And so we want to make sure that you get the best outcome of that short period that we're together. Because as I tell everybody as well, wedding day is blink and done. You guys plan for a year, 2 years, this craziness, chaos, all this stuff. Oh my God. Then bam. We go there, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, done in a second. And so just enjoy it, and that would be the best outcome.
Let's lighten up the mood. Do you have any funny stories from working with Prestige State that you would like to share with us today?
I honestly have so many, guys, because remember 12 years. But one that does come to mind, and I feel like it happens to a lot of clients, is obviously the R word, which we hate. In any wedding industry or wedding venue that has an outdoor location, is the point of rain. Which, yeah. I honestly, I always tell all the girls, if I had a connection with God, I most definitely would talk to him every time we have an event. But
that's so out of your control. I feel like it's so hard for people to get upset at you. It's like, sorry, I do not control the weather.
You would think. You would think. But that's not the way, unfortunately, everybody thinks. But this story is gonna have a good ending. It's not a disaster. Trust me, I have some of those. But listen, this wedding, you know, we learned by experience, and you know, it was a very, very, very rainy day, but not from the morning, and that's Miami bipolar weather.
No.
The day was beautiful when we got here. I wake up in the morning, and when I have an event and I'm coordinating, the first thing I'm doing from the day before is checking the weather. That morning, I'm checking the weather. All day, we're checking the weather, okay? Because Miami can change in an instant, you know? So that morning was beautiful. Everything was gorgeous. It was super sunny. I went into my office. I did my thing, you know, and I started setting up her items. And then I would say probably middle into the day, her wedding was starting around 4:30, if I'm not mistaken. And it was probably like around 12:01. And it started to pour.
Oh.
And typically we already talk with the client in the morning, like, hey, like, let's talk about what if situations, if it does our word, what are we going to do? What's the plan? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? We give them the list of options because we want to help. You know, and this bride was headstrong that she was going to stay outside and she wasn't going to move. And this is what it was going to be. And we were going to do it there and yada, yada, yada.
She's like, I ain't living.
That's right. She was literally like, no, we're staying. And I said, okay, you know, we're not here to give our personal opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you what the options are, and I'm going to do whatever you want, right?
100%.
But we're also a venue that wants to make sure that their experience is phenomenal. So what did we do? Which at the end of the day, we did the maximum that we could do for this outcome. But we started to purchase that day these hoses. The owners bought these hoses to suck up water in our ceremony space. So this is all of us, probably 3 hours before the wedding. We're all running around. I'm full decked out, makeup, hair, everything. Jenny, my coworker, she's another coordinator. She also was decked out, makeup, everything. We were all here. We all had to pull our pants up, take our shoes off, and we're puddling into the water and we're sucking up water for hours. We're just sucking it up, sucking it up, sucking it up, because the bride said she was gonna stay out there. And so the best thing that we can do was try to make it the most beautiful area that we could with the means that we have, right?
Yeah.
So me and Jenny and the owners, everybody is doing full force to make sure that this looks beautiful before we start. And it was successful. It took forever, and we were probably draining water till probably 20-30 minutes before we start. Literally, guys, as a coordinator, that is the worst experience because you want everything to come out spectacular, and being so close to start time, you'd like everything to be ready to go.
Mm-hmm. It was like an expectation versus reality moment.
Exactly. But honestly, it was even more gratifying when I saw her come out and she was so happy because, girl, I was sharing with her photos. I was really trying to convince her to move it. Because I honestly was like, oh my God, it's going to be super flooded. It's not going to be the way she wants it.
Yeah.
And I was sending her videos. I literally have the receipts. I was sending her videos of my feet, bare feet in the water, puddling.
Oh, wow.
Letting her know that hey, this is the situation. It's raining super hard. But it's going to stop. But the space is obviously going to take long for it to drain. You know, so I was really trying to give her the other option so that we can, accommodate to her, but also so that we weren't doing all of this chaos before doors open, because it was very difficult and we weren't sure that we were going to be done before we opened gates, and we didn't want to delay obviously her wedding. But end of story is that everything came out great. We pumped almost all the water. Literally, it looked like nothing had happened in that space. She was able to enjoy walking down the beautiful ceremony space, and let me tell you, the sun was out. It was out. It was like if the clouds opened just for her. When everybody got lined up and everything was ready to go, it was like nothing had ever happened. Obviously, I looked a disaster. My hair was all messed up. Everything was crazy. But honestly, the most important was that she was happy and that he was happy. And they got to enjoy their ceremony outside the way that they had planned it. So that's a success story for me, even though The beginning wasn't exactly the way that we had planned it. The most important is that we worked for her to make sure that it was. And I can't say that for every single venue, but we do try to give you our most 100% experience to be the best that you've ever had, because you only get married once, we hope. And
fingers crossed.
Right? And that should be the best experience of your entire life. Yeah.
And besides coordinating, like, what other services does Prestige State offer?
So I obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a sales manager. I also coordinate. But at the end of the day, all of us here as a team, we don't structure ourselves to only what our position is. And that's a very big difference with us. We're not one that only focuses on the job that we do.
If anybody flexible, like, oh, I need help over here. Oh, let me jump in.
Right. So if anybody needs a hand,
it sets you apart. Because not everybody's all about the teamwork, and like it sets you apart as a team because everybody's willing to collaborate. Anybody
that needs an assistance, whether it's our top manager, the owner, whatever it is, a coordinator, a salesperson, whatever it is, we're always here to give a helping hand. Everybody has different camisetas, like our boss likes to say, in the venue, and we're not only here to put our own shirt on, we're here to assist the entire team in whatever that they need, and that's what's going to make a successful outcome, not only for their wedding day, but as a business in general. We're not here only focused on, oh, well, that's not my job, I don't want to do it. That's not the way that we operate. We will break our backs for anybody on the team, and that's why we have such a great flow as a team within, and why we work so well together. And a team that works well together is going to reflect in that event as well, 100%. Because everybody is there to assist, and we're not worried only about what we're there to do.
Okay, Sammy, so we already covered your journey and success stories. Now you have to share with us who has been your favorite, best client you had the chance to work with so far.
On the spot, guys. Every client is my favorite. I'm going to pinpoint a few, but every client is my favorite because it's a different experience. I live with each one of them.
And you're learning, I feel like you learn from each other.
Absolutely. I learn different personalities and the way that they like to operate. However, there are specific clients that I feel like make the process easy because they're more understanding. And they're conscious of what they want out of their day. So I would say one that I really like comes out top of head is Jackie and Renee. That couple was just a blessing to be around. Just very chill, the whole process, really, obviously not to say that she didn't think that anything was important, because obviously they thought everything was important, but it's just the way that they went about things. It was just a very chill vibe. There was times where I had to tell them no, which clients hate, but never did they take that in a bad way. They understood everything, and their wedding day was absolutely beautiful, filled with a lot of love, and just their wedding party. I'll never forget the person who officiated. I believe it was a friend of the family or something, or their brother, somebody very close, but he was one of the best people I've ever heard in a ceremony. Because it was not only like, talking about the marriage, but it was talking about personal experiences that they both had with each other. He took it at a very chill aspect as well, but still very professional. And so he really captivated me in the way that he did the ceremony he officiated. But just in that, the vibes after, just the wedding party, just everybody was just a very chill vibe, super happy to be there, took everything the way that, it came. And that was one that marked me, because when you have so many that are so stressful, and then you have one that's just like breath of fresh air, it was just an amazing experience to work with. And that, not to say again that others are not just as important, but they were one that I will always remember, and their decoration was very beautiful. Nice, white, bright, everything was beautiful.
Has there been a moment for you that you're like, oh man, this is what I do. Like, you're just like proud of yourself and accomplished, and you're like, it was all worth it?
I would say almost every wedding, okay? Because there are some, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm sure that anybody in the industry would know, not every wedding, not because our wedding came out badly, but just because of the person that they are or the way that they live their life. Unfortunately, doesn't resonate within the venue. And they live their life that way, and that's just, they want to come in with animosity, or they want to be angry the entire time, and so that makes the job more stressful. But I would say out of 100%, 90% are amazing, and I feel grateful, and that 10% doesn't take away how I feel about doing it. it only makes me stronger in how I can make things better for the next time, for them, and for myself, because we're all learning. I'm not super perfect every single time. There's things that I need to get better at, and everybody else has staff. But we strive on constructive criticism, not trying to send us to the ground because maybe one thing wasn't up to par in your eyes. And so that's what differentiates clients from others. Other clients can give constructive criticism after, still be very grateful for the event, but tell us where we can get better, because we're only learning as we go, and we want to get better every single year. And any venue that says they're absolutely perfect are liars. So we only continue to get better. So every client does mark me, but every single event, whether I have backaches and I got to see my chiropractor immediately after because I've been standing on my feet for 20 hours, I still feel grateful at the end of the event to see that it was a success and that everybody was happy, and the love in the room. I would say that there's a small amount of people that have gotten married that I could feel that they're in like super love, that there's a lot of love in the room. Again, nobody take it personal. Everybody, I'm sure, loves each other, but there's specific events. There's specific events that you really feel it when they come in, and the way that, they dance with each other, they look at each other, and that's just a really big, like, weight off your shoulders once you get to the party time, because any coordinator would tell you once they get to the party, you're like, okay, I can breathe now. But I mean, I would say after every party, I'm grateful to be a part of their experience, whether they enjoyed it or not. With me, I'm always grateful to be a part of their day. Because at the end of the day, I was a part of something that changed their lifespan from then on, which is that they're now married to the person that they love and that they're going to stay with for the rest of their life. And so I'm grateful to be a part of that day either way.
So a lot of people have been asking questions on your social media of the account of Prestige State. So I selected a few, and I want to ask to you right now so you can provide all of us the answer.
Absolutely.
So Mariana here says, she's asking, does your venue accept pets?
Yes and no. Not that we don't accept pets, we do. Obviously, we do deal with liability and what we're allowed to have on the property when there's food service, and anybody who's in the industry would know that when there's food service, there cannot be any animals present. But we know that the fur babies are a big part of the family. I have 2 beautiful fur babies that are my own that I would love to have as a part of my special day. So I completely understand when couples would like to have them be present to enjoy. We allow them to be here for the ceremony and to walk the ceremony, enjoy the ceremony, take pictures after during cocktail. But unfortunately, they would have to leave after that because that's when we do start food service and they can't be on property. Plus, and I tell everybody the same thing, your pets, they do not want to be here for a 5-6 hour event.
And the loud music is very disturbing.
The music, the people,
the
heat. They're out of their normal day to day, and any pet is not going to want to be stuck in a cage all day long in a room where they could be comfortable at home or with a babysitter or doing something that they would prefer to do versus you putting them in an atmosphere that they're not used to. And no pet is going to want to do that. And anybody who loves their pet should know that. When I had one pet come recently, beautiful dog, but he had a lot of hair, and I know that he was not for being outside for the amount of time that he was out there. So I was so happy when they came to pick him up because he was over it. He didn't want to talk to nobody anymore. And I say talk because he was being, social with everybody, but he was over it. He had gotten to a point where he sat down under the terrace. He went under the chairs. He no longer wanted to be a part of that day. And I was glad that they went to pick him up after that because, like I said, they're not wanting to be here for that. As much as we love them and we want them to be a part, they're there for that moment to take pictures and do all of that. But after that, they should go.
Yeah, I agree. It's uncomfortable for both parties.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have another question here from Luisana. She actually asked the question in Spanish. I'll translate. It says, ¿cuáles serían los no en una boda? So it means, what would be the no's in a wedding? Like the big no's.
Group pictures. Okay, the group pictures having more than 20 to 25 groups for photos, that's a no. You have to be.
Why?
Because you have to be aware of your time. Okay? When you're taking group portraits, and any photographer would tell you that as well, when you're taking a group portrait in a 45-minute period for cocktail, you need to focus on the most important people to take pictures. Not that everybody else is not important, but you'll have that time to do it during the reception. But if you're going to spend your entire time taking group portraits of every single family, call abuela, call tia, call second cousin, call this person, you're going to spend your entire hour doing that, and you're not going to focus on any individual pictures. you and your husband. You're not going to do main family because there's so many people that are waiting. That's one no. A second no is the same thing for speeches. Speeches should be speeches, toast, whatever you want to call it. It should be limited to the most important people. And I'm always at favor of the maid of honor, and the best man, and maybe the parents. Or
are those speeches like approved beforehand, or is it like very spontaneous thing and you have no idea what they're gonna say?
I mean, most of the time, coordinators, we don't know. But I mean, the couple, no, we have no idea. But we do tell them in the coordination to make it like a minute, 2 minutes max, because again, that's going to cut into the time of the reception. And this is not a school lecture where the guests that come here are not here to sit down and listen to every individual family member talk about the same thing, because their speeches are going to be very repetitive. After the third, fourth, fifth, sixth person starts talking, they're all going to be exactly the same. And that brings me to my third no, which is opening the floor for speeches. Because when you open the floor and that's planned in anticipation, it is going to be a disaster. I've had weddings where they open the floor and every single person wants to talk, and at that point it just doesn't even make sense anymore.
And it takes the entire time of the wedding.
Absolutely.
When you're 3 hours there, you're like, okay, we only have 2 hours left to party.
Absolutely. People want to party. They don't want to come here and listen to Fulanito's story about you when he met you and all of this stuff. They could care less. We want to know about your love. We want to know about the people who are important to you, but it should be cut to that. And the people who do that, sometimes they will understand when one who has the knowledge will explain, and sometimes others won't, because maybe their most important thing is not dancing and having a good time, like party wise. There's some parties who they really don't care to dance. They're not dancers. They're not really into that, nor drinking or anything like that. And so maybe they do want to fill in their time with more speeches, games, things of that nature. But it is a no if dancing is important to you and having a good time is important to you, then that would be a no, because you know who those specific people who should talk are and who shouldn't. And so you should limit it to that amount of people that are important to you versus every single person that reaches out to you, they want to say something, saying yes.
Yeah. Agreed. So I have another question here from you.
Oh, wait. Okay. And also, another no is coming casually dressed to a wedding. That's
outrageous.
No. Okay, that's
jail. That's jail.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've had many weddings here. Our beautiful venue. Everybody's decked out. The venue looks beautiful, head to toe. And then I got people coming in chanclas, sneakers, jeans, ripped jeans, crop tops, joggers. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And even if the invitation says casual, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's just not
it's
appropriate. Yeah, it's not appropriate to come to somebody's wedding who they spent all this money to take pictures, to have the aesthetic of the venue look great, and then you come here like you're going down for a beach day or gonna go chill in Wynwood. That's not it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That's the ick. You know what's also the ick? Sandals with socks.
Absolutely.
Jail.
Don't do that.
Jail.
Unless they're slides. Slides can be done with socks.
With socks?
Yeah, with slides?
No.
Yeah, slides
jail.
can be done with socks.
No,
but
jail.
At home, not here.
That's jail.
Jail time.
Okay, so we have...
Lock me up then.
Here we have a question from Giovanna. She's asking in Spanish, but I'll translate later for you guys. She says, ¿qué es lo más importante al empezar a planear una boda o evento? Which translates to, what is the most important thing from beginning to plan a wedding or an event?
So as I mentioned earlier, budget is a really big thing, but that's not the only thing that's important. It's obviously aligning your vision with the venue. A lot of people do select the venue according to the vision that they had in mind, but others, which I feel like is more successful, choose their aesthetic when they choose the venue, because there is a lot of beautiful venues in the area, or wherever you're looking at it. Maybe you're not local from Miami, you're looking at this podcast from elsewhere and are also planning a wedding. And it's not the most important thing to have the aesthetic aligned before. I do think it's better to choose a venue that you love first, fall in love with that venue, and then choose your aesthetic that best fits. It's kind of like when you go and try on a wedding dress. A lot of girls look online, on Instagram, TikTok, other girls who are wearing beautiful dresses, and they envision themselves in that. But then they go, they try it on, they hate it. It's not their body type of figure with the dress that they like. And so they fall in love with a dress that they never knew that they would like.
I feel like social media also plays a big part.
Absolutely.
Like that comparison, like, oh, she did it that way, so I just want to recreate it. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's your personality, it's your wedding, and it's your relationship.
Exactly. You shouldn't copy anybody's, although we've had a lot of weddings that copy and paste other weddings that we've already done.
Ooh,
Chantel's. But at the end of the day, another big point is your guest count. Knowing your guest count before you come to visit venues. And I'm going to tell you why. Nobody is 100% sure as to how many guests are going to come 100% confirmed as you start to
plan. A lot of people cancel last minute. That's like a huge Miami thing.
Absolutely.
Which I hate though, but it happens.
It happens. And I mean, that's not only in Miami, it's everywhere, but a guest count should not only align with your family and who you want to invite, but again, and I hate to say it, what your price point is, because
100%.
You don't want to spend, and I tell people all the time, you don't want to spend all the budget you have inviting guests. Like if your budget aligns for 50 people, do it with the 50 people and then have a banger wedding with all the other things that you would like for wedding day, versus inviting 150 because you have to invite fulanito's neighbor and this person because the family wants you to invite them because you've known them since you were little, but you've never talked to them again after, but you have to invite them because your parents said, yeah, you have to. And so at that point, your list is now 150, and now your budget just went out the window because now you have 150 people you have to invite, and you could care less if those people are there. So I tell all the girls when they come in, invite the people you talk to on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, somebody that would hurt if you would look out into the crowd and you wouldn't see them sitting there. If you could care less that that person is there, they shouldn't be invited in the first place.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, the most important is having the people that you care about the most there, and not all the filler people that you invited because other people told you that you had to.
Exactly.
And so those are the main things that you should focus on: sitting down and doing a guest list, making sure your budget aligns with that guest list, and as well as choosing aesthetic that not only fits the aesthetic you want decor-wise, but what you've envisioned for a venue in general. And that's very important as well.
And the last question is coming from Elena, and she's asking you, how long has the venue been open?
So this is our 5th year. The owners too have another location that has been open for over 15, and that's where I started with them and then gradually made my way over here. So this has been successful for 5 years, and so on and so forth for the future, because we're going to be here for a very long time.
Thriving, honey. Thriving.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's been a great 5 years. A lot of stress, a lot of accomplishments, and we're just getting started, guys. I mean, you know, what you see us as right now is just the beginning. We're super professional in what we do. We've all been doing this for a long time, but it's the beginning as for what the venue has to come in the future, what we want to do, what the owners want to do within this property as time goes by. Everything has to happen on a timely basis, because we also have events in the in between, so we have to make sure that everything is structured accordingly. But there's a lot of plans coming for the venue to be better and better and better in the area, and we want to just continue to make this experience better. And so, you know, you guys definitely need to stay tuned to all of the changes that we will be doing in the future, and we hope to, you know, continue to create experiences that are forever memorable for you guys and your family as well.
And are you guys also open to requests? Because maybe they can comment below like what they would like to see in the venue for the future.
Absolutely. Comment down below, guys. Actually do that. Comment down below what you guys would like to see in the venue in the future, like something that you feel like that we're missing, because we're always open to constructive criticism on how we could get better. So comment down below, guys, what you think that we should do in the venue, and we would love to share that with the owners and see kind of where you guys are in mindset and see if we can make that happen sooner or later. We don't know.
Thank you for watching
Wedding Talks with Prestige Estate. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, show us some love down below.
Everything, guys. And please let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this episode, as well as some content ideas of guests you would like us to interview or what you would like to see in the next episode.
Absolutely, guys. We're just getting started. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
See you on the next one.